Just thank you everyone for coming. Just to let you guys know, we'll be starting in a couple of minutes. Just going to give a little bit more time for anyone else to join, and then we can get started.
Tom, you here?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry, I was just doing a couple of things there. Of course, my alt had to join, Alex, as you said in the comments there. Thank you. And just want to welcome everyone. I want to welcome Derek for joining us. I want to welcome Alex. Just to start this off, we are xSpaces. We run this normally Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but we maybe change that up to a Tuesday and Thursday approach based on people being available and everything. Talking about the hot topics for each week, the good projects that are building on the space, and trying to give a few insights and questions into everything that's going on here. So today was joined by a special guest, Derek Gold, who is representing Domain Services, XDomain Services. XDomain Services is a project looking to host domain names on the Multiverse chain for both individuals and companies to mint a domain and use that as a personal brand and for website capabilities. We have seen this glow up on Ethereum chain over the past year with massive purchases on marketplaces there. So I want to thank you for joining, Derek. And to start us off, could you give us a little bit of information into your background and what XDomain Services is?
Yeah, thank you. So, about 6 years ago, I was trading forex and learning price action, and I was approached by somebody to kind of get into crypto, and they were just getting me into scam coins and stuff like that, multi MLM coins as I call them. We never want to get into those kind of things, right? So I was into that for a while, and you got to learn sometimes from the mistakes that you go through, right? And then you start to see what's happening in the space. You start to actually do your research and don't rely on other people. So I got to the point where I couldn't listen to anybody else because it was they didn't have anything to back up what they were talking about. So when that happened, I really got into like white papers, and so I went through like I think about like 500, I think, and there was like 1,100 something cryptos at the time. So it's blown up since then, quite a bit. I think we're probably above 10,000 now. So when I look back at that, it was like reading half of the cryptos out there, and just spending like a good amount of my years just contemplating on what I was going to do, and starting in the price action sector and learning forex was probably one of the best things I ever did, because I was looking at the whole scope of things at that point. So I was looking at the long-term price goals, short-term price goals, and then you started learning what's happening in trends, like what's happening in the space. and that was really fun to learn. Now it's like AI is like the big thing. So, it's like following the trends, understanding what people are doing, how the market moves. Those kind of things have got me to the point of understanding where we need to be if we're going to have some sort of mass adoption. So I wanted to have a project of my own, and I started doing art along the way. And obviously, I was like, hey, this is fun. I can draw art. If people like it, they can buy it. It was cool because I seen how Ethereum worked, and that's what people are doing on Ethereum. They're just selling their art, and people are buying it. And so I just started drawing some art, and I raised a little bit of funds, and I gave some of my NFTs that I had accrued, some of my good NFTs. I sent them back to my holders because I had a lot. I had like over 300 NFTs or something like that. So I just sent them back to my holders, and I'm like, you know what? This is fun. Let me think now. Like, why aren't projects actually working, right? And it's like, well, they're not, building something sustainable behind their project at this point. There was a couple, I think Co-Watt was the only thing that I was like really looking at, and I didn't even invest. It was dumb because I could have invested a bunch of the Co-Watt things. And it's like those real world utilities was like what spoke to me when I first seen it. So a little before that though, before they even came out, I was thinking about domains, and I saw how ENS was working, and I'm like, well, you can claim a hero tag, but you can't sell it very easily. It's not doesn't have a value to it at this point, which it could in the future, but it just doesn't at this point. And you can't have multiple of them. So only 1-to-1 phone number. So you have to go buy another phone to get another name, right? So if they ever became, worth something in the future, that's not something that the team was looking at. They wanted it to all be free, but when it comes to websites and actual value and like branding, you want to be able to sell that if it becomes worth a lot of money, right? I mean, you could sell your wallet, sure. You could sell your name, and that's where I was like thinking. I'm like, well, ENS is owned by Ethereum Foundation for a reason, right? Because it's a core product of Ethereum. And I'm like, well, there's just this opportunity to make a core product on Elrond, which only the team was making core products. So I'm like, wow, this is just a really like one of the few that I can actually get in there, make it, because everyone's like, well, why would we need domains if we have hero tags? Well, I mean, I looked around at the space and I was like, hey, what do people have as their names? And I saw more .eGLD than anything else. So then I'm like, whoa, this needs to be done. And so, I looked at actual trends of like domains, websites. It's all been on consolidating since 2004. So if anyone's read charts for a while, they understand what happens after consolidation. And we believe we're the ones that are going to hit that point, during that big up. So we're going to be there for that. And that was like really exciting to me. So that's where it kind of just came to this point, So
do you think that's what happened in Ethereum last year with their massive sales in ENS names and stuff?
Well, I'm not too sure. It's just like branding became a thing, plus who knows what else is going on behind the scenes with the trading, which we want to, we don't want to be doing that. I'm sure when we hit Ethereum, bots are going to bot us up, which are fine. But at the same time, we want to build an organic community, which we have already. We have a lot of people that are unsure, but we've spread ourselves out for free pretty much to a lot of these communities because we have a plan. Like we have a plan for every step of the way to create demand. And it's just kind of cool if you actually look at our white paper.
Yeah, I was just reading that earlier today. One question I had was because I know you're very open and public, Derek. You don't have
Yeah.
to name names or anything, but who is on the team? How big is the team, and what kind of special skills do you guys all have?
Okay, so I have me. I'm the one who is kind of the idea maker. I'm the one that um, comes up with a lot of the ideas. I run them by Trev a lot to just see if they're relevant too. Trevor, he's in the space right now, Elrond Energy. He's a lot of the paperwork, making sure everything looks good on the website, making sure the website's updated, getting everything just perfectly, as good as we can with the budget that we have. He's the budget guy. He's the one who budgets all our money, and it's really worked out. And to tell you the truth, we haven't really pulled in a lot of liquidity from the market, which is reasonable with this market. But we do see other projects that are getting high liquidity, which is crazy. It's hard to get out there and show people that we're not just here for a second, right? We're not just going to drift off into space. Everything that we've seen so far, has kind of just drifted off, and then new things come up, and we've had, a few backers of some big NFTs, but it's, to me, it's very important. I've been here since day one of NFTs on Elrond. I actually, had one of the first mints on. I mean, I probably was in the first like 500 to mint, 1,000 to mint on Elrond. I minted my first iteration of crappy Angry Ducks, and that was just fun to me because they were just blocky, crappy ducks, and it didn't mean anything at the time, right? Everything didn't mean anything, but now we have to have things that are starting to mean things because we need to move into the future, right?
Yeah, for sure. And liquidity has been very dire in this bear market, especially for Multiverse X. I was going to go a little bit into that a little bit later. I was just wondering if you could, just for people that, most people, they don't really buy domains, they don't know much about domains. Could you explain firstly, why a company or an individual would want a domain? And then could you explain why it would be better to have one on Web3 rather than Web2?
All right, so let me break down what we offer and what I think is going to be the most relevant. Okay, so like for instance, like .ape. Okay, so say like back in 1994, that's when the first domains started coming out. So people were buying them and actually still holding them today. And a lot of them they're buying for like cents, right? Kind of like our domains are like dollars right now. They're like 3 to I think it's $100 is the top. Not even, it's like $80 I think is the top most expensive domain, which is even cheaper if you actually look at our white paper, what's available, right? So if we see that branding is going to be the future of NFTs, right? It's all going to be about branding yourself, making your business off of your NFT. We have, like, for instance, I'll just say like LAYC, Lazy Ape Yacht Club off of Ethereum. They are taking their trait groups and they're actually finding companies. For instance, I own the 3D one. Okay, this is just for instance. Okay, I own a 3D glasses one. Well, they're hooking up with a huge company, for cinema and comedy and stuff like that. Okay, for instance, so say they .ape, you get the base names. Well, you get like Joe, John, Jack, Jill, whatever, the base names that you can find. Maybe we focus more upon European names and stuff like that. Well, then after a while, after we start infiltrating all these these ape collections, we're going to start having these people looking up these, and you know, if people are paper handing for really cheap, people are going to buy them. So that's just the idea of what we're like looking at. You know, .ape is like our golden domain. We feel like it's the first branding idea that we had that was take it to significant levels. And we are in the talks with different brands and different things like that too, on Ethereum. So also, I would like to say that we are building on Ethereum. We're gonna have a wallet connect on Ethereum where you can mint off of the same names. So we're gonna be spread out, you know, and we're gonna keep spreading ourselves out, and we're gonna keep pushing. Unlike, you know, see, the thing that I just see is people have to keep working every day to bring people into their project from a different chain. They have to get them to download a new wallet, this and that. Well, what if we just don't have that problem, right? And we can actually, you know, take another chain on and add more liquidity on. Well, what happens to the NFTs that we offer? That actually gets rewarded from our business. Which, you know, right now we're from the US, so we can't promise anything. We don't want to promise profit, or, you know, it will all just be rewards that are just dropped as until we can move out of the US and do a lot more. So that's just our plans right now. We're working with a very little, but we've done a lot with very little. So it's been it's been great actually to just be working on a project that we know is sustainable.
That's great to hear. And I'm assuming Ethereum Multiverse X, I'm assuming the wallet connects will be on the same hosting platform.
Yes, we will. We're working on something really big right now. It's at the very starts, so you know, it's going to take some time to come out, but we're actually getting a bunch of people involved that everyone's invested in already. So, I mean, you really, this is alpha, you know, I'm not telling names. I haven't, you know, I'm not giving any direct, you know, references to anybody, but we have people, multiple projects, upon multiple. Plus, we have multiple devs upon multiple devs. Like, I think we have like 7 or 8 devs now that are now going to be working on different things. So it's actually bigger than anyone actually thinks, and it's starting to trying to keep everything in line as a founder is more than I think anyone else is trying to take on right now. Which is, if people can't see it, that's fine, because once we actually make things happen in a big way, it will change the game for a lot of things. So.
And how is that hosting platform coming along? Is it getting close to release now?
The hosting platform, we had a snag, all right. I will give a little more alpha, maybe not good alpha, but we had a snag with our devs where they made a mistake, so we had to backtrack a minute. So it's been a couple weeks where we've had to work on something that we didn't get to move forward to our next step, which is fine because we already are way ahead on our roadmap if you actually look. So we're really running in the amount of time that we let extra, we gave some slack so that if we did run into something like this, it's gonna be just fine. People's expectations are still gonna be there. We want to over deliver and under promise every time, which is exactly, you know, we haven't promised anything, but we've just delivered. So it's just been really big for us.
And yeah, that's great to hear. And I was looking a little bit, so I was reading through your white paper and looking into the NFTs and everything. And you mentioned obviously bear market's a really difficult time for new projects to raise liquidity and everything. What do you guys think was the main problem with the launch? Do you think it was just the wrong timing?
No, I mean, we did fine, actually. Honestly, me and Trev put our money together to start, and then we actually made over what we put in. So it's not a bad thing. It's just we're at a spot right now where I'm looking at the whole market and the liquidity is dead, right? And so we did have good liquidity. We were moving fast. We were making we have super rare bears as partners right now. They pushed us really hard, got us going good, because they see what's what the future of it is, and how we can keep spreading ourselves. I don't want to like sound like a broken record, but we can spread ourselves more than any project because that's all we have to do is integrate other chains, right? We can keep, because no one's doing it. Look around, no one's doing it. So this is huge, we should be sold out. We should be 100% sold out. Like everything should be sold out. The whole gamification of our NFTs, it's insane actually. And how to acquire a domain the right way if you're looking for like 3-letter, or 3-character names, stuff like that. Those things are going to become things that we push to in the future. They're going to be the ones that gain the value with the market that goes up, because we would never build in a bull market where we could just get everyone where they're in lackadaisical happy times. No, that's not what matters, because if we're sustainable, then we can last, right? We could, build our, we could honestly, build our browser extension and sit and build for another year or two and still be fine because we have a working model. We still have to do that next step, but we're trying to do a lot at once, right? And that's I think going to be the biggest push that we have. But yeah, I think that people don't really understand how domains are going to change from a business model to an actual, and how it's happening on ETH already. And so when we hit ETH, it's just going to be a different story, because everyone I talk to on ETH is like, yeah, I'm interested in that. So here, when I talk to people, they're like, well, we have hero tags. They're just uneasy because they're not seeing, I will explain the team, they are building, like XFabric, but it's going to be a centralized platform, where you can share that link and people can go there like a website too, but it's going to still be centralized. You're not going to have the power to sell your names, to, brand yourself, to have that power yet. So, I mean, if they have that, but it's still centralized to where you can't, there, the plans that we haven't said deal in real world and how you can actually integrate real world assets into blockchain. So it's like, it is a whole different ballgame that we are trying to accomplish, and we're going to infiltrate other chains. They're sitting on Multiverse X. You see what I'm saying? So it's a whole different, it's just different. It's not even the same thing, so people have to realize the difference here.
Yes, I agree completely with that. I think also you touched on a good point there, that building in a bear market, the ones that can survive and really thrive in this environment are going to be the next big companies that come up in the next run up with everything. And it's very difficult, especially with such little liquidity. But to be honest, I didn't think that you guys had built as much as you had so far. So it's quite impressive to hear that right now. And
yeah,
one thing
it wasn't a lot of money either. That's what I want to try to reiterate. It wasn't a lot. If projects just went and thought and really, thought about building something, I mean, come on, guys, open up the eyes. If it takes people this long to start pumping out something, when we just jump on, find devs from just, out of thin air, build this out of thin air, things happen because they should, right? That's what I see.
Yeah, I was wondering, Alex, if you want to go first. I think you're unmuted there.
Yeah, sorry, Twitter rugged me before. Yeah, just wanted to mention, Derek, that's like I wasn't aware that you have actually built so much as well. I thought you were more like in the beginning stage. So like what I would just wanted to say, kudos to you for, you know, keeping your head down and kind of grinding all the time, because that makes me just so bullish on you and what you guys are doing. So yeah, for now, I just wanted to mention that, and really excited to be able to hear this firsthand from you here. So yeah, kudos, and yeah, I'll definitely reach out to you after
Thank
these
you.
spaces.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. You know, it's really been hard too, because I think you know, we have you know, all the people on Elrond, you know, are different. You know, there's honestly a lot of people that just, you know, speaks French and they stick in the French community, and then you know, there's the English community, and then you know, everyone's so spread out. So you know, I think everyone's just focused on PFPs right now. But you know, if they actually looked at like impartial apes, I mean, I took a lot of time, and the quality is actually pretty decent, in my honest opinion. You know, for like just me as an artist, I mean, you know, apes are the, you know, are what started NFTs, and now, you know, that's what we're trying to bring back as a new, you know, the new ape, the dot ape, right? The benefiters of dot ape, right? The people, as we spread, as we go, you know, we're gonna be having competitions for our holders to, you know, like pushing parties, or like, you know, like weeks where we're like, you know, giving rewards for certain goals met and stuff like that is what we want to hit to. You know, we never want to promise profit, but obviously if we're you know, hitting high volumes, you know, I mean, like ENS, I think they hit like 8,000 ETH one day or something, like a few days actually, almost. So you know, it's like, it's kind of crazy how like you know, we could really, you know, hit some really crazy numbers to actually, you know, reward our holders. And I don't think that's really what we can, you know, like put out there too much, because we're not trying to give expectation of profit. Not yet, because we can't legally, right? So it's just you know, it's just a little bit different of how approach that we have to approach it. And that's, you know, people want money, you know, they want money. That's what they want to see, that they can get a profit right away, right? And so that's one thing I see in the market as well.
Is the quick flip for sure. I think also the domain. I think a lot of people in Ethereum, you know, there was a lot of, as you were saying, high volume days and a lot of crazy purchases of domains over there. But I think people in Multiverse X and stuff like this, I don't think it's not too much a sexy topic, I would say. It's very important for building on Web3 and also Web2, as we all saw in the .com bubble and everything. And I think this will become more and more a thing as we have more people joining and more businesses coming to build on the space, and they'll finally start to come through that. And it's great to hear that you're also building, planning to build on Ethereum as well. That is great news. I was wondering if people are actually able to mint these domains today through your service.
Yeah, yeah, they can mint the names today.
And
That is open.
how would they go about
So
doing that, Derek?
you can let's see, I just posted, let's see, I just posted a thread up. If you clicked on XDomain Services, there's our link. You can go through our link. You can mint right off of our site. We have another site with all the information that leads to that site also. I'll put it down here in the chat. Yeah, so we built in so you can actually buy with rare token too, and that's really cool, honestly, to have, you know, be giving utility to other tokens that are out there, and you know, teams that are working hard, that we see are working hard. And when you actually look, you know, we're partnering and we're collabing with the right, you know, the builders, the people that are constantly on top of their things. And that's what we've been, we haven't taken a day off. I tried to take a day off 2 days ago, and I couldn't take a day off. Or, it's just like we can't take days off. Trevor's working every day, in his real job, and I'm right now just focusing on XDomain services. I'm not paying myself. Like, I think I'll honestly say we've taken, out of the, like, I think it was like 20 grand we raised, or over 20 grand we raised. I think it's like 22 grand. We've only paid the team $2,000 out of it all, and we had to recoup some of those funds back to, like, Trevor, who's put in a lot, me, that's put in a lot, Benjamin, who's actually put in a lot of time for me in the last couple of years to actually, keep my Discord going and keep my, keep everything that I've done going, really, for free. So he's been just a big part in, like, keeping us going and keeping us happy, with what he's doing too. Like, he's just been all over the place in Discord. Every morning he says hi. Everyone in the Discord is awesome. We have some new mods we're going to be shouting out here in the next couple days. So it's really quite something to see all these people get involved. I think it's almost like 16 people now involved in XDomain services, which it's quite different than I've ever imagined it. Like, I thought maybe we would start getting people, but I didn't think it would be this fast. We have, one of our latest devs that's coming on board right now. He took some time to get himself together, but he's an AI teacher, and he can build AI products. So he went to Northwestern College out of Illinois. So that's huge. It's like one of the top colleges for AI in the country. And so he's looking to build some stuff right now that will come out in the near future. So there's just a lot of different things that we're looking at as a company, because we are a company. We are one of the few companies on Elrond. There's only a few. So we are a company out of the US. That's why we have to be careful with the promise for profit, because that's just not a thing right now. It's about building, and we've shown ourselves. If people haven't looked, that's really, it's on them to do the research on everything that's in the space. I don't ignore anything in the space, especially if I see that, there's some potential with it. But yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, yeah, I think that's 100% the right approach. If you just ignore things, then you can just miss the next big opportunity. Or, there's some really cool people that are building now, especially because, as you said before, they're on a really tight budget, and it's hard to promise profits, especially if you're an American company. That's even more difficult for you guys. So I feel for you guys for that part of that.
Well,
sure.
And I just think, as we go, we're going to create the demand to make it work. And that's what I'm not worried about minting. Every day I look, obviously, to see if anything got minted. But when it all comes down to it, I'm more focused on my devs, and I'm more focused on the whole team and the other projects that are about to be building products with us. Because that's the one thing we are missing right now. Okay, everyone is like, I know I listened to Steven's space the other day. I will bring this up. He did say, that we do need to start breaking free from the team and relying on them to build everything, because look at, they're loaded. They feel like they have to be loaded because they see that no one else is doing it. Okay, so if people aren't just building things and they're just pulling all this liquidity out of the market from all these projects, and then paying themselves right after mint, it's like, why start a project in the first place? I know we're all capitalists at heart, but they'll say, oh, I'm in it for the art, I'm in it for the art, and then they take all the money home with them. It's like, yep, you were in it for your own art to, you know, line your pockets, and it's starting to become very apparent to what people have promised already in our in NFT land here, to what they've done. And we just wanted to be different, to not promise and just do it, you know. And that's just one thing, you know, we see like a few really awesome projects that just take the reins on things, like Vapor Republic. You know, they just go in and do something because they see the potential, and they're already established. And like us, we were already established in our bags. We could have just held our bags and held out, right? I mean, it wasn't that big of a deal. I was still free and clear from NFTs. I didn't have to go and build a project, right? Like, I was doing just fine. And so was Trevor. So it just came down to the fact that I felt like I just needed to do this project, and, you know, building that ground level.
That's great to hear. I think that's really cool. I think Multiverse X, you know, I mean, I think you're the only project I can think of anyway that is doing this here. So it is great to see that. I wonder, because you brought up some great points there, especially points that Steven's brought up in the past, and me and Steven have talked about it as well. Multiverse X team has definitely been building most of the products in the chain, and I think that started partially because they didn't have very many builders, and most builders were on other chains, and then also because they wanted it to be built right. And I think they are a bit perfectionists in that approach. Do you see in this Multiverse X tools space, do you see a lot more builders, say, compared to like a year ago? Is that what you're seeing right now?
Well, to me, I don't really see it, you know, as much. What I see is scattered building. So it's not direct. They don't have an end goal. It's like, honestly, I feel like I look around in a lot of these projects. I'm like, well, that looks really interesting. Maybe if we become successful, we'll buy them and implement them, because they're just sitting there, you know, on Multiverse X. But see, we can build, and what I want to do is build a front end to where we're hitting Web 2 also. And that's another thing that will be different, is we're going to have a front end that is going to make it so people don't even know they're getting into crypto. And that's, I think, going to be the biggest event of it all, because that's what people need to, they need to be holding those bags and not even knowing that they're holding a bag. It's like, you know, we want to make it really, really simple and really easy. And honestly, you know, I love what the Multiverse X team has done. I just feel that it is too much for them. And if we did have all the liquidity from all these different projects, you know, maybe they could have went to the Multiverse X team and been like, hey, is there something that, you know, would be needed, or something we can build? Can we look for devs to build something that, you know, is going to be needed on chain? I mean, even something simple like that. But, you know, what we've seen is that the team has put people in place like Zono. You know, they're friends of the team, right? They were put in place because Emoon couldn't make it, and because Frameit wasn't a big thing yet. So, you know, they put people in place where they've needed to be, and so it's become a little bit centralized. So I just feel like, you know, all the liquidity that's been pulled out, you know, it shouldn't have been that way. People should have been building the tools, the dexes. You know, the team shouldn't even have had to build those, right? You know, it should have been all about, you know, organic growth, but it took so long for anyone to even do anything, right? And so I had to sit in the space for a while to see what I could build, and that was to my level, where I could start low at a smaller pace, right? And even if I'm not being, you know, observed by everybody, I can push it and get the traction I want by pushing it and being able to talk about it all the time and loving to talk about it all the time. That's the thing. People in their projects, they're going to die off because people get, you know, weary on their project and it's just backed by a picture, right? And they have to be able to talk about a picture all the time. Well, You know, that just isn't going to happen. I'm sorry. I mean, you can say moo moo, baba, you know, roar roar every day, you know, but at the end of the day, it has to have some sort of meaning, and or the community will move off to the next big thing, and that's what we'll see every single time. Um, you know, even with well, and even look at like a lot of these marketplaces, you know, that try to come out, you know, try or anything that's already out there. So why, you know, why do something that someone's already doing? Oh, I want to make it better. Well, people are going to keep using a shitty product if it works and if they like it and if they've been using it. It's just we've seen it. I mean, otherwise people would be using Frame.it more. I mean, Zono and Frame.it like have both different qualities, right? So they both work together in the market. But other things are coming and trying to, you know, eat each other's tail, as I say. Like there is another names another names project that came out on Elrond like 8 days after us. They had the team's backing and everything right away. They've only done 5 tweets. They haven't engaged with the community. They have a huge Binance, you know, partnership. It's just, you know, it kind of was like, you know, what is this like? And you know, I'm sorry, but you know, we're gonna keep pushing, and no one's gonna be able to catch us from here. They're gonna have to aggregate us, or they're gonna have to try to beat us. And I'm too competitive. I'll just say that. You won't beat me at this point. I'm too competitive, and I made my moves faster than anybody else for a reason. And I didn't. I had something built almost before I put it out. So even came out on Twitter, you know. So I'm very competitive.
That's great to hear. I love the competitive nature. That's when you're really going to build faster than anyone else, harder than anyone else, you know, not taking risks. You were saying earlier. I just wanted to give a little second here just to say that anyone listening in, you could just put some questions in the comment section, or you can come up and speak. I want to shout out Stephen for being here, and many other familiar names like Wolf of X Street, Victor Nurse, you've been to a lot of ours. Trevor, you're here from XDomain Services. Cornish Pasty, I recognize you as well. Great to see everyone here. And any comments or questions, just put them in the comment section. With Derek, you were mentioning the Web2 adoption, and I think this is a really important point, especially since the Multiverse X team is really trying to push for this as well. I was wondering,
Right.
Do you guys have a plan to incentivize Web2 companies to come in the space? Or are you just going to offer the service when they eventually do come?
So we are going to, yeah, we are going to start partnering with creators instead, not companies. So when we have everything built, we will be hitting all the creators on YouTube, all the creators on TikTok, everybody that we can find and get emails to, because that's the place we need to be, because they're the ones who will see what we built and then be able to give that value to their people. So that's the way we're going about it, because that's with what we're doing and how we're doing it and our end product, it will benefit the creator personally, and they'll be able to take it to the next level. And that's how it will progress to where people will start holding bags, not even knowing it. They're going to get in to use our product because of what we're trying to build, which is not yet specified, honestly, because we don't want to be front run, and I won't be front run, and that's just it. So people can try, but we're already getting some of the greatest people that I've ever met and the smartest people I've ever met involved. So it's going to progress in a way that people aren't thinking it's going to, I think. So the mass adoption's on my mind every day, how we're going to implement it, how we're going to go about it. And creators is the only way. You have to appease to the creator. So
they're pretty much just mini companies at this point, aren't they? They all have their own.
They run the world. They run the world, actually.
They do. It's like micro companies, brands. I mean,
Yep, exactly. That's where it's going to all start out with, because those people will inspire the other people to create brands. And so that's where I'm going at this at a different way than others are going to. And I think that, once the creators actually see what we're going to make, they won't have an issue because it will give value. And that's what I watch a lot of creators. I watch a lot of art, people creating art. I love that on YouTube. I learn a lot from that too myself. So when I watch their sponsors, a lot of them are just like the same thing over and over again. It's nothing that gives really that much value. It's like VPNs or I heard a lot of them doing this stupid surnames or something from like Scotland or some crap. So like the sponsorship can be there. It's right there. It's needed. What we're gonna offer. So that's how we're gonna go about the market. We're really gonna I think we're really gonna do something that's a little bit different that attracts people in a different way. So.
Well, that's great to hear. And one of the interesting things you mentioned in the white paper, and I know that you guys are working on this at the moment, is domain wars. Just love it if you could explain that to people here, and what do you think that will do for the community in the future?
All right. So the way I look at it is, it's hard to judge a community and how strong they are, okay, and the liquidity that's behind them. So I'm coming up with a domain wars. So we're taking, for instance, 001 through 10,000.ape, and we already did drop them to BAXC holders. So we're going to get probably all the other derivatives involved. Plus, we'll probably get, all the other 8 projects involved. And so then we'll be able to gauge and see who the stronger projects are, who's holding the most, who, it will start out with BAXC. A lot of them will probably paper hand to other people, and that's just what I expected to happen. And so other communities can get involved, and then we can actually, all the projects that are involved, we can actually score them by what we see, and then we can have other people score them too, so that the wars actually are, are done in a right way to where, the holders are getting, the royalties, so that, that's not like promising profit, but it's just the reward of, the greatest amount of holders. They just earn those royalties as rewards. And so that's one way we're going to be doing it. So if say BAYC comes in and wants to buy all of them up, and the biggest holders, and then other projects that would want to try to become bigger would have to try to buy them, obviously, at that point. So maybe, we can get projects that really gain a lot of money off of selling them to, that end point, is what kind of what I'm thinking. It doesn't have to go that high, but it can gauge the community, in my opinion, I think. So
Yeah, I get that. I get that completely. I think just let me know if I'm wrong here. Are you suggesting maybe, so like for 8 projects, you print maybe 10,000 .ape domains, and then the project that has the most of those domains almost counts as like the strongest community? Is that?
yeah. I mean, honestly, without a gauge like that, I think that, it's harder to see who the more active communities are too. So if they're always trying to get their number for their ape, then and then every community is trying to do that. So most of them are 10,000 collections. If they're not, then they can still just buy as many as they want, and then put those each towards the collection they want. So it doesn't have to perfectly line up. I don't think that's the way we're going to have it. But yeah, I think it could get, it could go the other way where people just buy it, and never sell it, and then they're just the top community. Which, I mean, cool. That's just fine if you want to do that. But at some price point, they might start letting go. So I think that the more we get serious about it and we become a serious company, the more other people are going to want to be at the top, and have their communities shown to everybody that's coming in. Because that's the main point of it. We're going to hit web adoption.
Yes, yeah, and you're partnered with Bored Ape X Club and Super Rare Bears.
Yes.
Have you discussed this with them, and what do they think about it?
Yeah, so I mean, Super Rare Bears is totally on board. I haven't talked to BAXC a lot, but I've been in good contact with SRB, and yeah, I think just what we've been talking about and what we have planned, it's gonna blow it out of the water. And the people that I talk to and explain the whole concept that I'm doing to, they're right behind us, and especially the partners that we have, they're right there. They see what we're doing and the moves that we can make and how they can benefit too. It's not, and that's the thing, when we do a partnership, it's not a one-way benefit, right? It's a both-way benefit. So it's not just a partnership or a collab. It's going to mean something a lot more in the future. So we'll see a lot more projects running to us. I guarantee that.
That's great. And do you think that will also just become customized into the smaller projects as well? So like, not smaller as in actually the brand, but smaller as in they're pretty much a unique project, like say Drifters, dot Drifters or something. There's only the one project that does that, but some people may want to be represented by Drifters as their domain.
Right. So we want to start out with this system and then upgrade our system to a system that actually, cooperates with others. So that's kind of like the alpha, like the small bit of alpha. We're gonna be making it so no one has to go anywhere else to claim. It will be maybe a direct, contact, to us. I'll just, can offer the services. Everything's open source. Nothing can be, unless you're just trying to take it for yourself and not say whose it is. I mean, it's all open source. So everybody should be afraid right now on Ethereum, when they really won't be the first traffic site is what I'm gonna push for. So they might get, obviously they're going to get there, at the end, but they're going to want to go through me first to see what we have. And I guarantee that by the time it's the first movers, they sit in their fat whales and they're not doing anything. They're just sucking up the liquidity. Look at ETH. They're not really doing a lot. They have their base, everything set how they want it. And they could come out with things in the future, but they're kind of landlocked, especially ENS. Unstoppable is on Polygon too, which I understand, which is fine, but something else can come in and aggregation can take place, just like we've seen Zono do. So get ready for some fun. Because we're gonna be having it on Ethereum when we get there. So there's some alpha for today.
That's great to hear. Thank you for that, Derek. And I think it's just alpha as well that you really want to compete strongly with Ethereum, and that you see a big market there too. I think that's great to hear for a lot of people here. I was wondering. Oh yeah, carry on.
I was gonna say, well, we're making it about the NFTs, right? We're basing all our domains, and we can keep adding them, right? We could keep adding whatever we want as long as it's not on the public. So, which is not that many. So we can do all the personalized, and that's what we're really out to do, is personalize them to the NFT projects and to the people. That's not being done as much. So
I think the personalization will really go a long way, especially for the big projects that have strong communities, like say DGods and stuff like this. I'm sure there'll be a lot of demand to have a .dgod or something like that at the end of your name. Strong communities out there, and I think that's a good approach for that. I was wondering a little bit with the technicals. So Ethereum's the one that most people talk about for domains right now, and as we know, Ethereum's NFTs are put in smart contracts rather than native tokens on the blockchain, which is what is happening in Multiverse X. I was wondering if that's the same thing with the domain names. On Ethereum, will those domain names be in smart contracts or will they be native tokens?
Yeah, it will have to run off whatever Ethereum has to offer. But at the same time, they could bridge it over if they want, or bridge it over from us to Ethereum, which will be awesome when that xBridges comes out. Plus, another thing that I wanted to say is that Ethereum and in real world, when you buy a domain, you don't own it. You are renting it. So our model is different in the fact that you buy the name first, you own the name, you pay the royalties when you sell the name. That's the difference. They don't have royalties, we have royalties because you own it. And so in the future, you'll be able to royalty free rent it out to the next guy. So if you're having, if you have a whole array of names and somebody comes, and you only bought it for what, 10 eGold, and then somebody says, whoa, I really want that for 100 eGold a year. I mean, there you go. You're making 100 eGold a year. And so that's what that's the model we wanted to do and make different, is give the power to the holder. So we'll build that that system to where it's, maybe you always have it in your wallet, but you just give them the permission to use it, right? NFTs can be really done any way, and it can be surface level, right? So they could be on our platform and it's just given permission through our platform, right? So it doesn't have to leave your wallet. It doesn't have to be something that is hard to do. Also, we can also get in the game in Web2 and become the mediators for those. When we get bigger, there's mediator. You have to have a mediator for a big transaction when you sell a domain. You have to have somebody that's certified to actually handle the mediation. And that's another thing people don't understand, is you're paying up the ass. I mean, honestly, you're paying up the ass when you're getting domains on Web2. So we wanted to mitigate that through Web3, and then also go on to Web2 and offer services out there so we can pull people in, right? And then go further with that, which I won't even go into, because we want to hit Web2 with a storm like no one can fathom, and that's not being done right now. So it's just exciting. I'm excited every day. I wake up every day and I'm just freaking excited. So
I love hearing that. And I think most people, including myself, would not know that Web2, they're paying so many fees and everything for these services. And
yeah,
I was just going to ask just 3 more questions. And anyone else that wants to ask a question, just put it in the comment section or request to speak, and we can have you up here. We'll be wrapping up in just 10-15 minutes because I don't want to take too long. But one of the questions I had, Derek, was I see the XDS token, which is the token behind your project, and the rare token, which is from Super Rare Bears for your partnership. You've in the white paper, you've said that 70% of supply is going to development of the platform and marketing. Is this to give incentives on the platform or for the team to use as liquidity to raise capital for building the
that's
platform?
not for the token. I don't think,
Or is it not?
unless it's a mix up on there. The token, that's just the 70% is for development from what we earn right now off of
Yeah.
any kind of ins or out, ins into the project, any kind of liquidity. So 70% is all going to development. And yeah, the token is not going to happen for a while unless we figure out a way to just start a distribution of some sort, that because we're in the US, so we really have to be careful. There is going to be a token that, you know, you can buy domains with, and that will run an economy. It will run an economy that is based upon development of websites. And it's gonna be more than that, to where the demand is there for it, because look at what we have out there for development of websites. It's just not, you know, it's not to the satisfaction of the everyday user to be able to build a website that's just beautiful, how they want it, totally personalized, you know. And that's the way that we will hit the market with a new product that will actually, you know, take a different stance than what's already out there. So
I imagine a lot will be for incentives as well for people on the platform.
right. So that, you know, like when we do hit creators, you know, it will power those, you know, those creators, and it will power the people that are getting in, that they influence. So they'll definitely be joining our platform to become a creator, and it will go from there, to where other people will be choosing if they want to be that a creator on our platform, and that will open up a whole different thing. And that's in the future here. You know, that's really giving some alpha, but we are going to base it around the creator, and that's what we believe is our the success point that we'll be hitting. So
That's great to hear. I think well, especially since your approach is very much for the communities for NFT projects as well. I think that's a good approach to have, and one that I haven't really heard from any other projects. I mean, ENS names are very different. Everyone personalizes them to their own brand, like a content creator, but not so much to communities as well, which is something I think a little bit new with your brand. So that is
yeah, we were the first to ever do .ape and .bear, like ever. There's never been a system made that has .ape in it, which, I mean, if you think about that, out of the 8 billion people that are on this world and all these projects, and no one thought to make .ape, like, which blows my mind, you know. And so being the first one to be able to present that and to make those first moves, I feel like we'll brand ourselves to where people know us out of anything, right? They'll know us just because they heard .ape. They'll just know us, right? So that's where the big stance that we're going at. You know, there's so many ape communities out there. They're probably looking for something to do anyway, honestly.
And you've got .bear as well. You've got OK Bears on Solana, and I'm sure there's some Ethereum ones as well.
Oh yeah, we're already kind of in talks with another bear project on Ethereum. So yeah, it's I'm seeking out. I'm making moves. It's happening.
That could also technically be a cross-chain sort of strength for the community strength kind of measure too.
Oh, very, very much so. So we can actually see when the liquidity probably starts pouring into these other chains that we get involved also. So
that's great. And I was just wondering, for one last question from me, and anyone else can ask a question if they'd like as well. In the coming years, how easy do you think it will be for Web2 builders to switch to Web3? And do you believe it is just too difficult at the moment?
I think no one wants to come here because the money's not here yet. Okay, everyone's staying on the outside because that's where the money is. If we can actually infiltrate the outside world with a product that is undeniable, the best that's out there, that actually is presented to the real world as a Web2 product, and then, like I said, they will be, you know, creators will will then give everything to their people. They're gonna join. They're gonna be holding bags and not even know it, and then they're gonna be like, "What can I do with this?" And that no, and I just want to say, look at the world. Go out and do a poll of yourself for yourself, and ask 10 people if they invest or if they even want to invest. Go do it, and then see what I'm talking about. There is nobody in the real world that really wants to invest. You could tell them all day that it's going to be for their best interest, but they don't give a crap. Okay? They don't care. They want to keep living the life the way they want, but when they see, look what we've seen, like ChatGPT came out, over 1 million users in days. Okay? Because it solved a problem. And see, that's the thing. What are we not doing? We're not solving problems here in Web 3. We're not. The problem is to get to Web 2. Okay? So we need a product that starts with something simple like domains that is an actual asset, okay, on Web 2 that's recognizable, that can be bought, can be sold. Okay, we need that. And if we don't have something like that that's facing towards that, the mass adoption's not coming. They're not going to come because they don't see why they should invest. If their eyes are open because they're already holding a bag and they make money, guess what? That will trigger something in people. Okay? That's different than any approach that any other project on chain is actually going for right now. I guarantee you. So we do have a big opportunity here that is not being done. The whole space, look at, there's no competitors. Even in Web 2, there's no competitors. WordPress is a not for profit company. They are not moving forward with any different technology. I know the team is trying to do the same thing, but people want to buy and sell their names. Sorry. They want to. They're going to want to have a market for that. They're going to, they're not going to want to lose their wallet, because they have to sell it. That it's just, that's too much. So when it all comes down to it, it needs to be like Ethereum. It needs to be noticeable from an Ethereum standpoint. That's where the investors are at. That's where everybody's at that has the money. So when they see something else that's like, where they can get the great names, they're going to go in and buy them because they're just going to take that chance. It's just how it works. So we're going to hit it hard, and I really see that, the difference is money. Everyone wants money for what they have.
Yeah,
they don't want.
We're living in a capitalist society for sure, and people do go where the money is. That's why people are not trading NFTs on Multiverse X at the moment. They're trading on Ethereum, Solana, maybe Polygon now that DeGods have gone there, or Utes have gone there, I mean. I think I would say, Web3, it's solving a few problems, but the problem with it is just so complex. It's such a barrier for normal people to get into, not just in actually using it and interfaces and stuff like that, which is what the Multiverse X team is definitely doing a great job with, but also just to understand it. I mean, like you said earlier with the poll, running a poll with people, I talk to a lot of people, my friends and stuff. They're not in Web3 at all, and they just don't understand it. They don't get why it's interesting, why it's something to invest in, why it's something to build on, or anything like that. And it is very difficult to actually use very few words that are simple to understand to get someone to actually go into Web3. And then even when you do, it's hard for them to use it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's making financial gains, okay, in prosperity, right? But that's it. That's why I'm saying, if it's not about financial, then it has to be about something else that, people use on a daily basis, to keep and be a sustainable project. And that's why, we definitely see it's domains. It's the base of our internet today, and it's not going to ever change. metaverses are going to come in, but people still going to have websites, guys. It's gonna, you know, at that point that people will want to watch other people on their metaverse. You know, they're gonna have their plugins. They're gonna be able to see everything that's going on in other people's lives, and they want to have a personalized place for that to be. So
yeah, and
I
it
believe
just shows the Web3 making up for its name, because Web2 is obviously from the .com era, and now Web3 is from the domain in the Web3 kind of world as well, I think.
the .ape era.
The .ape era, exactly, or .bear. Alex, do you want to go ahead there?
Yeah, just wanted to mention that I can't wait for the .ape era to begin. And yeah, I agree with you, Derek, that it's not a if, but just when. So like, kudos to you. Just wanted to mention the fact why people are actually not getting into Web3. I think, Tom, you mentioned a valid point with regards to, let's say, a vast knowledge that you need to obtain, and you actually need to put some effort into it to kind of grasp how and why you could gain from using this technology, let's say. But I think like the early stages of crypto kind of put a bad name to it, and a lot of people do not actually understand the technology that's behind it, and they're just simply scared of it. So like when someone tells them to invest in it, they're just simply scared of it. They don't want to touch it just because of what the governments are saying, what the media are saying, what is just all about around them, you know? So as soon as the narrative changes in the media and in the information that gets put through to the mass population, that will be the flippening, where overnight, like suddenly, you know, just like half of the world is gonna be jumping onto this shit, and it's gonna be literally crazy. I mean, like when you go back in time with the internet, same thing. So we just need a bit of patience here, and well, I hope there will be a lot of let's say smart people that will notice the superior way that Multiverse X is built and all of the advantages that it has for different use cases. So yeah, that's just wanted to touch upon that.
Yeah, I mean that's why we built here, because it's easy to go to any chain, you know, in Bridge, right? That's like a big reason why we're just, you know, on a chain that has low liquidity, and we didn't just go put ourselves on ETH right away, because we could have, right? We could have just went full force on ETH. It wouldn't have been a problem, but then it would have been an issue. We would have had to build on Multiverse X so that we could really bridge to other places. So um, that's, you know, I've been here since, you know, the beginning almost, like, you know, and seen this changes grow. And I see a lot of how Ethereum grew in the beginning, because, you know, it's like, especially in the NFTs, because I hit that point where NFTs were the thing. That's where you know, that's where I entered. You know, I didn't buy any, but I watched them. And I'm just seeing the same thing here with NFTs, because you look back, most NFTs that are, you know, that were made aren't even talked about ever, never anymore. Like the first ones, like a lot of the first ones on Ethereum, like no one even talks about them. The liquidity isn't there for them. I looked, even there's just like nothing. It's like that's what's going to happen for 99% of these. And everyone's still holding on to a lot of, you know, hope, but you know, it's only going to be a few that actually make it through. And it's like anything, like stocks are in the early, you know, 90s. Those, no one knew what was going to become big, right? Everyone was just buying different things to, you know, get in the market. And then there's a lot of losers, a ton. You know, there's more losers than winners, because the money gets consolidated. Um, and that's what will happen. And if you don't have anything that's, you know, perpetual, that can keep going, that keeps a market and people are using on a daily, then you aren't going to make it. I mean, it's just, you're not going to be what you want to be.
Yeah, I agree, definitely. And one of the ones that comes to mind with me with that statement is crypto Kongs. I mean, I don't think they're doing anything these days. Yet, if you go back a year and a half ago, quite a long way now, especially in the NFT
Cardano?
world.
Is that Cardano?
No, it was Ethereum actually.
Oh yeah, they
They
have
were,
another one that's like that on Cardano too.
yeah,
Kongs.
they've got chilled Kongs, don't they, on
Chill.
Cardano?
That's right. I get them mixed up.
Yeah, I don't know if that's still building or not, but the crypto Kongs in Ethereum, there was a
Right.
point. This is like just before Bored Apes like absolutely blew up, and there was a point where these were selling for like 100 or 200 grand each. And
Wow.
the banana token, it was one of the first not even utility tokens, just tokens that came out for its holders. And these holders were like making 60K a day from this token.
Wow.
And yet you just don't see them now. You don't know about them. I can't even find them on OpenSea right now, so I don't know what's happened to them. But I think that's definitely going to happen. Most will not survive, especially the ones that are not working through this bear market and not communicating. And I think it's good to stick with blue chips at the moment and the ones that are actually building, which is why it's great to see you guys building. And as we've said throughout this space, it's a product that does need to be here. Multiverse X needs a lot of products, a lot of tools, and domain names is 100% one of those, I think. And I think you are right that communities will want this. I think hero tags, like you mentioned, like they are amazing things, but I think a lot of people would like access to more than one and being able to go between and all this kind of stuff. So I think that is great. I just want to open it up for last thoughts, Derek, if you want to say anything or talk about anything here.
Uh, yeah. I mean, we've been, like I said, we've been working really hard every day. Um, we talked like I talked as many projects and message and do the work and be persistent, and that's all it is. You just have to have a goal and dreams, and you just have to be persistent because we've seen what we can do with so little, and that's that's literally what we're not seeing anywhere else. We need to see that dream that's actually attainable and something that can be actually used. And games, like, I think are going to be a big thing, but we've had lots of promises, and anything that's really out there is like 2 years out. So I mean, we're going to build faster than that. We have so many developers that are just throwing themselves at us, but it's the investors aren't. So it's just kind of funny that way, how like I've been around the space, and all I see is like projects that are trying to get started. They can never find devs, and it's just funny how they just kind of appear when they see something that's sustainable that other people excuse me, maybe like investors might not even see. So we've had so many devs that we've actually had to turn away too. I think it's been up in like 12 or 13 devs that we've had to actually turn away or either stop working with, either too. So um, it's been a lot. A lot of people are trying to, they see the potential, and that's why I'm trying to, push Impartial Apes so hard, because I feel good about it, no matter what they look like, no matter what people think, because it just won't matter in the end. It really won't. And those cute buggers will be on the front of my applications, and every single person, millions and millions of people will see them, I guarantee you, and they'll fall in love with them, and then people will love them when the money's there. But now it's fine. People can kind of sit around, do what they want, but in the end, we're gonna push it, and we're not gonna stop. And that's my end statement here, guys. I love y'all that are supporting us, and are here till the end. So
That's great to hear, Derek. And I think everyone appreciates that a lot, and they really, really like to hear that you guys are building through this really well. Alex, I'll give you a little chance if you want to give some closing thoughts. I know you're looking at a beautiful sunset right now. If anyone wants to look at that, it's in the comments. He took a picture.
Yeah, bro. I mean, like, it's pretty sentimental. I hope I'll be able to remember this talk, and when X domain services blows up, and we're kind of living in that world that we're kind of envisioning at this moment in time. I'll remember the day that I was, looking at the view and listening to you guys talk. So, yeah, I mean, like, I'm excited about the future and excited about what you guys are doing and how it's all can materialize. So yeah, thanks very much for taking the time to do this, and yeah, excited for what's to come.
Thanks, Alex. I appreciate your kind words. I really do. I really,
Yes.
really do.
Thank you very much. And thank you everyone for joining here today. I'll just say one last thing here. Derek did just put a comment in the space, which links to the app for X Domain Services if you want to check that out. There's also the thread pinned up above. This has been xSpaces on our little interview and also just talk on Multiverse X tools with Derek.eGLD from X Domain Services. And thank you to Trevor for also joining us here today. And thank you for everyone else. Hope you all enjoyed it. We come twice or maybe 3 times a week to talk about cool things happening, interesting topics, and projects to talk to. So it's a really cool thing, and please follow X Domain Services if you like what you heard. And thanks all for coming. See you guys again soon.